on the subject of like TikTok and like things blowing up, the West Village is wild right now.
Oh, you mean West Village?
West, yeah, you are. Alison has a complaint.
It's the West Village. It's the West Village. It's the East Village. It's Greenwich Village. Like I just these like young people who move into the city are like, I'm gonna rename this neighborhood.
Yeah, it is quite a cocky move to be like West Village. It is the
like,
West Village. I think it's hard to find a place to get dinner here.
It's hard. I mean, in all of the city, but especially the West Village. It's just like, oh, you can't just walk into a bar and order a snack at the bar at a regular enough, like 6. It's like, well, you could come back at 10:15 and we might have a stool. And you're like, I mean, I'll be dead by then. So
it's absolutely. We're all going to be dead. Starvation. Welcome to the new JTrain podcast. Hello and welcome to the JTrain podcast. This is JTrain Jared Freid coming to you live from the West Village of Manhattan. It's a Chit Chat Wednesday. Every Wednesday, a friend and I, we have a little chit chat. We give you 20 minutes to take your brain, put it on the shelf. Today, my good friend and return guest. There's weeks where it's like, last week I think I did more podcast tapings. My conversations were more taped than not taped.
Yeah, I hate those weeks because you're like, oh, what is this anymore?
Right. What am I even talking about? This is stupid. Am I on my own reality show that I'm making 1 hour tapings at a time?
Yes.
So I was like, I don't want to tape anything. I was dead. And then I was like, but I do need a Chit Chat Wednesday. We're taping this on a Monday morning.
Yes, it is a
Alison
Monday morning.
Libby, thank you for coming on.
Like a Monday morning.
It feels Monday-ish. So this is going to be the most chit chat of Chit Chat Wednesdays because I just told you I'm hungover. How are you feeling?
Like not hungover like from last night, but like a cumulative like. I feel like garbage every day. So that's so if it's a day that ends in Y, I wake up being like, ugh, what is this?
Someone's listening to this right now. They're like on their walk and it's like they either like, I don't know. If you're a fan of this podcast, I don't think you turn it off after I feel like garbage every day, or I think you're nodding along, right?
Yeah. I assume at this point people have bought into that. From this.
Right.
Like that they're like, this is what I'm signing up for.
This is the listen.
He feels like shit. His friend feels like shit. They're talking. I'm listening. Like we're all part of the problem.
Right. They're helping for us to feel like shit by giving to this. Like we have worth and value. So we go out, we have drinks, and then we go tape. And then the cycle continues. Yeah, because I got spots later, and I'm like, I know I'm going to drink. Right. It's just bad. So I was going to ask you, you have a podcast that I was just a guest on, okay? Yeah. And this is also, people come on the show to promote their wares. Alison didn't even mention, we'll talk about the podcast. Never mentioned it.
I also Greg and Anthony are always like, we got to do more podcasts and promote the podcast. I'm like, oh, right. Yeah, we got to. That's a piece of this whole thing.
It is called Talk Town.
I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah, it is quite a ride. It is called Talk Town. And the basic premise, the way I know it.
Okay, yeah.
You explain.
No, you tell me what you have perceived that it is, because I'm curious what anyone who's been on it or has listened to one episode could possibly imagine it is. I have an idea of what I think it is.
Talktown is out. You can go subscribe to it.
Yes.
And it's on YouTube. It's on, all
Spotify,
the podcasts.
All
the stuff. So go do that. And then you guys can write to us and tell us what you think the show is. I thought that it was 3 people discussing how to create a town.
Yes. That is, technically the premise.
Yes.
That was what we, landed on. Greg Stone, friend of this pod, called me one day, because he calls me now every day, and he was like, I want to do a podcast with you and Anthony, and I think it should be called Deal With It, and I'll get really high, and then you guys kind of have to deal with that. And then that was the pitch.
That's the pitch.
That was the pitch. And I was like, I'm in. Like, I'm in full, like,
He basically called you and was like, will you babysit me?
Yes. I'm absolutely chaperoning this whole thing. But then, like, we spent 1 second looking up, like, is there a podcast called Deal With It Yet? There's over 60.
Come on.
Yeah. So we were like, okay, that can't be. And we were like, we got to figure out like what it is besides that. And in the first episode, we kind of landed on like, oh, we should be building society over with like the way we want it to be run.
Right.
But that's like 8% of every episode. And it's mostly the original premise, which is Greg is really high. And we Anthony and I, his manager was like, I love the idea of this podcast where you're high, Allison's dealing with it, and Anthony's translating. And that is really what's happening. That's
kind of what I would say that is at its core what it's doing. But
and now we are doing guests.
Well, yeah, now I have come on the show, and it is, to me, recreating society is a worthwhile podcast. And then
I agree.
There's someone, like, it's funny to think, like, that idea would be done by, like, an NPR.
Yes.
And they would have like this long dictionary, thick, like memoir
Bible
of what the town is, and they would every episode,
rules?
Right? There would be lore, and people would get into it, and like, every episode would be small, like because they want to do so many of them. So like they'd be like, we're gonna discuss town hall today, and you'd be like, okay. And then you guys do it, and I'm like, what have we already decided on this town? You're like, I think there's a traffic light. I think there's a ring of fire.
Yeah, it's like it's a mix of like some very like granular social stuff of like, oh, like I think all the bathrooms should just be single occupancy, and then no one has to worry about, gender or embarrassment or privacy, and that's a great like that's a very specific like real tangible thing. And then it's like also the town is built on concentric lazy Susans, and there's a ring of fire on the outside that you can't penetrate. And like that's really from the brain of Greg. But we all land there together, and and I'm like, am I part of this now? Like I've realized that I start understanding what they're saying much faster than I used to. And
right.
I'm like, is my brain working like this now?
There's got to be a moment
where
there's got to be a moment where you're like, I went to Cornell. There has to be a moment
every day
of that
I wake up and do stuff in this industry. I'm like, I have a pretty expensive education.
Right.
Not getting to use at all.
I have questions for you, Allison.
Please.
Okay.
I hope I have
What
answers.
is your most, what is off the top of mind? And I wrote these down before we got started.
Wow.
The best restaurant experience you've had recently. I'm not looking for a top list. I'm looking for a place that made you go. You and I like talking food, and I've been thinking about
food the whole. We could do that for the rest of this, and I'd be
right.
thrilled.
So while you think about that, I have a
Give me
sponsor.
a moment.
If you've been noticing some hair thinning, you've got to get Nutrafol. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. They have different formulas based on your gender, your stage of life, and your lifestyle, so you're getting exactly what you need. My mom's a Nutrafol user. She uses it, loves it, seen a difference. I am blessed by the hair gods to this point in my life, so this is not something I can speak to, but I could understand if someone's dealing with hair thinning, this is an option. Why wouldn't you take it? And I think here's the biggest part. Physician formulated with 100% drug-free ingredients. So that's something that before I got into the drug game and the surgery game, Nutrafol's would be the option that I would look to first. Get results you can run your fingers through. Nutrafol is offering JTrain listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com, enter promo code FEATHER. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code FEATHER. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code FEATHER. All of the sponsors are in the description of the episode. We have 3 today, so I'm just warning everyone, and listen, I'm not like,
good.
Yeah, that's
good. We need to make money doing this.
Right.
We don't ask for anything else.
And if I'm not saying everyone should be stocking up on Nutrafol for me. If you don't need it, move on to the next one.
Right.
All right. You got a restaurant?
I got a restaurant in mind. It's not like a new one for me. It's my favorite local little Italian spot in my neighborhood. I live in Brooklyn. I live near Rucola, which I don't know if you've. It's very tiny. Rucola, Rucola. It's just this little. My friend's husband calls it a women's restaurant because all the tables are close together.
That's woman's restaurant. How? Explain that more.
I think he also loves going there, but like
sure,
it's small, it's cozy. The tables are all close. You're eavesdropping. Everything's a little smaller.
I would describe it's funny like Capitol Grill men's restaurant. Right. Hillstone. Kind of. Well, that was actually my friend. That's so funny because it's not that women can't like it, but it's built around men. A dad.
Yes.
The Indianapolis has like just tons of steak places, and it's just like dad coded. Yeah, like you said.
So this is like slightly female coded, but
also female coded. I think women. There's a type of restaurant that women like explaining. So like when you say it's small, like I know every woman is like, get me Googling. I am gonna go look at this place.
It is like it is one of my absolute favorite places. I've been going in this neighborhood since even before I moved here, like 8 or 9 years ago. I go for breakfast. I go for lunch. I go for dinner.
An Italian place that does breakfast.
The breakfast is so they have a very tiny menu, especially at breakfast. It's just like 7 things. One of them is like an oatmeal thing.
Sure.
One of them is just like a toast with ricotta and fruit. They just have a couple, and then they have. I went for breakfast recently, and they have this like scramble, but it's super super light eggs with just Parmesan and sautéed broccoli rabe, and it comes with like a nice piece, like nice grilled sour, like rustic bread and like a big iced coffee and then like a side of fruit. It is like a perfect. So that's breakfast.
Right. That's great.
They do a great breakfast. They have my favorite salad in New York, which I think is.
Ring the bell. Holy shit. Okay.
Salad alert.
Ring the salad bell. Yeah.
Ring the salad bell. But so I went for dinner recently with my friend, and we got. They do like a meze. Like they have like some meats, some cheeses, and then a bunch of different pickled vegetables. So we got like a mortadella, a gorgonzola, and this pickled fennel.
Right.
And just kind of like nibbled on that with really good focaccia, which like they bring. They have excellent cocktails.
What about the salad makes it your favorite salad in New York?
So then we got the salad, and it's escarole, so it's a slightly bitter green, crunchy, and then it's just feta and smoked marcona almonds, and then a honey lavender lemon vinaigrette.
I love this. Anytime there is a nut
good.
On a salad, I nut my pants.
And
I am loving a nut on a salad. You got me.
A nut in my pants.
Nut in my pants. That's the new merch coming out. Nut in my. That's my new catchphrase.
Yes, you need
nut
that.
in my pants. Yeah.
But they don't skimp on the like. I feel like sometimes you're like, oh, this salad has a good cheese and a good nut on it, but it's like a little crumble here and there. This because like that's the only topping to the greens, so it's just like tons of feta, like really good creamy feta and these really good crunchy almonds.
This sounds wonderful.
Unbelievable. And then they have they have like 4 mains, 2 sides, and 2 pastas, and they change like the pastas change like every couple weeks. It's just like all seasonal.
Why? This sounds so simple for a restaurant. Like
it's so good.
And like we're not in the industry, but what do you think happens? Like it must be difficult to have a rotating menu. It must be difficult because I'm thinking when you're like 4 mains, 4 shareds, rotate, seasonal, you go, oh, that's like what I want from a neighborhood spot to know that it's like going to be like a place I can trust.
Yes. They always have good stuff, but it's not like, oh, a limited menu where it's like, I guess I have to go get one of the 2 things I really like there because like it changes. The one flaw in the rotating, especially the pastas, is like the mains stay pretty like it's always like a roast chicken with like some kind of like seasonal accoutrement or whatever.
Right.
But the pastas just like change constantly. And Josh Gondelman and I both go here all the time, and we both have a white whale pasta that we've had once and was good, and it never came back. Because they're constantly, they have some staples every season that you end up seeing, but like I had one years ago, and I'm friends with the manager now. Like I go there so much, like we're pals. And I'm like, okay, there was a pasta years ago, and I think I know what was on it, and like, will it ever come back? And she goes, it's really not up to me. Like,
this is like, well, it's like you can't fall in love there.
I know.
You know, you can't.
You just have to take what's there and enjoy it and move on, like a one.
That's the fun of the place, and also the horror. It's not. We can't have anything. Nothing can be great. That's really. But every then, day I feel like garbage.
Yes, that's every day I feel like garbage. It starts anew every day. It's Groundhog Day, but for feeling like shit.
Right.
But they're like the salads never change. The meats and cheeses are always the same. A couple of the sides are always there. It's just kind of like these like pastas and mains that rotate seasonally, which I really appreciate.
I appreciate as well. I like that. I love a little Italian place. Love a neighborhood spot.
A dessert, really quick.
Oh, excuse me.
Spoiled by my best friend being a pastry chef, as we know. But they have they just have 2 desserts. One is a pie from 420 Blackbirds, like a fancy pie place near here. And then one is just a dark chocolate pudding with whipped cream, sea salt, and olive oil on it.
That I like.
I get it. Like, I would go just for that. I would get salad and that. Like, that would be enough for me.
And a dark chocolate pudding is something where, like, you're not moving through that dessert quickly. It's like like you're sucking on the spoon.
For a share for, like, 2 people. Because you get, like, 3 or 4 solid bites, which is all you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all I'm looking for.
Like, I just want a sweet bite at the end. I don't need a whole cake.
I'm going to give you a restaurant that and again, I like that these are, because I've been watching these TikTok reviews, and I watch them. They're very watchable. That's like, let's start at that. You can't stop watching it, and it's not that I like them, but they're getting what they want out of me. They're getting the view, and like
I want to see what they ordered because I want to know what everyone orders everywhere.
Right. That is all I care about, and. So these TikTok reviews, like I was watching The Corner Store, and The Corner Store is now every review that I see. And it's a new restaurant that just opened up, and Taylor Swift went there. So that's part of it. Taylor Swift is like, we even see this for like tweets or like Instagram posts or reels. The mention of Taylor Swift takes your whatever you're doing and makes it bigger. Like, if you go on TikTok and you say the words Taylor Swift, you will have more views on your TikTok than you would have had you not said Taylor Swift. So when she goes to your restaurant, that's the same thing. More people are going to talk about it. More people are going to want to go there. More people are going to say, what's the deal with this place? And it's been opened by the people who catch. And the more I find out about the Corner Store, the more I realize that, like, we're all just losers in this whole great big scheme of things, because someone told me that, like, it's owned by Catch, which is like the original like influencer marketing restaurant, and they're known for making kids food high end and the food porn thing. And it's like, oh, I have no original thoughts, I have no original feelings, and they do a $18 Totino pizza roll at the Corner Store, which is a photo that it is interesting to see that, like, these dishes where you're talking about the dish that you just described, the salad with the nuts on it that makes me nut, and then the dark chocolate pudding.
Yes.
There's no reason to post those. There's no reason to share those.
Right.
A Totino's pizza roll, you go, I gotta show people that I'm having a high-end pizza roll. Like,
look how funny this is. And it's like, is it?
It's funny, it's nostalgic. It's like, it's weird that, like, if we were to create a food in the way Talktown is creating a town.
Yeah, okay.
But if we were to create a menu item, like we know how to create a menu item almost that doesn't have anything to do with how it tastes, if that makes sense.
Like, you could, like, Sadel's could decide to become like a TikTok place and be like, we're doing at like happy hour a bagel bite style pizza bagel, but on our bagels and with this stuff, and people their heads would explode.
Right, and put it on a like the 3-tier plate and make it look nice. Yeah, and what they use to make the pizza bagel, no one would care. Like,
no one would care.
Or they would say,
cheat.
Yeah, it is a cheat.
There's like it's like a cheat, but also like an unwinnable game, because like a restaurant that like sources pretty good ingredients and has a chef who does know how to do stuff, like it will always be better than a frozen, heavily processed thing. Like it is always gonna. If you make a fresh pizza roll, like you already know, like the plan has already been laid out. You know people like pizza rolls. You're not like, I hope they enjoy this. Wow. Thing. But like so you know they'll like it already, and you're doing it better. But you're also running up against the nostalgia of like, I remember what bagel bites tasted like to me when I was young. And I don't know that like there's a version of that today that would, like, you're chasing a nostalgia that you can't beat because it's like in someone's mind.
You kind of blew my mind just now, because it's something I've been like talking about a lot lately. Well, it's not just food, it's art, it's everything. It's all like, you know, things are people are making
Film
things
and TV,
that are like they're walking in the footsteps that have already been laid. And I think we've done that forever, but maybe we didn't have the footsteps as recognizable because the internet didn't exist. Like the internet is written in ink. So like I kept getting, I mentioned this the last couple weeks, and I'm frustrated with the attention that the TV show Nobody Wants This is getting.
Oh yeah,
I'm frustrated by it because what's that?
I still haven't watched, and I might not.
Well, people can like what they want to like.
Yeah.
But the way it's conceived, it's like a person who doesn't write TV creates a show with some tropes that they've seen on TV and in comedy and in like someone sent me them talking about the ick. So like that, to me, I was talking about it, I think earlier. I know earlier than them.
Yeah, for sure. Well, certainly.
Certainly, because it's on Netflix too. Right. So so the frustrating part is like, you know, I had a real experience that created me talking about the ick. A friend was like, I don't want to fuck a guy who wore khakis. And I was like, that's crazy to me. Right. And that's like I can reference the real thing. And it's like, when it comes to the Totino's pizza roll, it's not like someone was like, I've been making these pizza rolls. My grandma's been making these for years. And like, you know what I mean? Like it comes from a place
like a local specialty where I came from, and I'm like coming and bringing this like micro trend to a bigger, like it's not even that.
Right.
Like, it's just Kraft Foods Corporation made them, or whoever owns whatever. Like, I don't know.
Right.
Pfizer,
Whatever.
Whoever owns food now.
Right. But they knew it was going to be successful before they would do it. So it's like, you know, the frustration when you have this show of someone who has like if you have $100 million, then you can just sit there and go, let me see what's been successful, and I'll just redo it my way. And no one cares because you've brought it to the masses because you have the ability to. You have an agent who's like, all of a sudden you have an agent for what reason? Because you have $100 million. Yeah. So why wouldn't I have an agent? I don't know. Am I talking crazy? Like, does anyone care about this but me? No. Because the Totino's pizza roll brings me back to it. Because I go, I go. The corner store is
it's a shortcut.
Yeah. And it's like they also have the money to do it. Like, you know, I kind of wonder, is like all of our creative jobs going to go to the richest child of?
They already are. That's like already happening, and it has been for the last at least few years, but also probably since the inception of all of these entertainment industries. But like, it does feel like, you know, we all complain about the entertainment industry being this like IP obsessed machine where it's like we're just making remakes and reimaginings and sequels and prequels to the same like 5 things.
Right.
And I think that's true. Like, it's true in food. It's like I see it in like fashion and clothing where you're like, we already did this. Like trends are cyclical, but I'm like, we just did this. Like everything has to be like so self-referential or so referential because like if there's not a reference point, everybody's like terrified of something new.
Well, that's the thing is like and now TikTok, the algorithm game, it tells you not to be individualized. Like I have seen the diva dance, the Beyonce diva dance 7,000 times.
Right.
And I can't stop watching it. I watch it, but like I guess why am I watching this person's version of the diva dance again? But there's incentive. Go do the diva dance. It's going to get you views. And that's making you money now. Like there's actual like yeah, and I don't know, okay. But before we get into a place that I want to recommend, you're all about saving time and money. Let Every Plate save both with $2.99 meals. So there's a bunch of meal kit companies. This one's going to offer you value. I think meal kits are good for your health because they're not going to like you're going to be portion controlled, which is good. Yeah. And then the other good thing is mentally. It feels good to just create. Again, we're talking about like creating something, like just to like have a beginning, middle, and end to something, to know that you put it together, you compare it to the picture they give you. And Every Plate has a rotating menu of 26 nutritious and delicious weekly recipes. Add on grab-and-go snacks and easy lunches. It's great. This is awesome. $2.99 per serving on your first box is like crazy affordable. So join Every Plate today and pay only $2.99 per meal. Plus get 50% off your first box for all box sizes. Get this limited time deal by going to everyplate.com/podcast. Enter promo code JTrain299. That's code JTrain299 at everyplate.com/podcast. I got one more, people. I promise. Right. Okay. All in the description of this episode. We'll come back to it. I got more questions for you. But I'm going to suggest a place that I think I was just so on the subject of like TikTok and like things blowing up. The West Village is wild right now.
Oh, you mean West Village?
West, yeah, you are. Alison has a complaint.
It's the West Village. It's the West Village. It's the East Village. It's Greenwich Village. Like I just these like young people who move into the city are like, I'm gonna rename this neighborhood.
Yeah, it is quite a cocky move to be like West Village. It is the West Village.
It's in chic West Village.
No.
Go back to Indiana. Like
it is popped off in a way. I mean, this weekend specifically was noticeable because the weather was beautiful. Mm-hmm. You just see women. It's very female coded, the West Village too. Like that's another female coded thing. You have the
narrow streets.
The what?
Narrow streets.
You're right. Listening to conversations. You have the Sex and the City stoop. You have the Friends window. Cute is at an all-time high. You just see these girl groups like looking up to the sky. Like it's just like wide-eyed and like and now like. You know, the Gulch in Nashville, like these areas are all copycats of the West Village, but now we're getting the people that would frequent these places coming here.
Yes.
So I think it's hard to find a place to get dinner here.
It's hard. I mean, in all of the city, but especially the West Village, it's just like, oh, you can't just walk into a bar and order a snack at the bar at a regular enough, like 6, it's like, well, you could come back at 10:15 and we might have a stool. And you're like, I mean, I'll be dead by then. So
it's absolutely. We're all going to be dead. Starvation.
Right. I'm hungry. There's nowhere to go. I can wait in a 4-hour line for a slice of pizza, or I can stand outside a bar hoping they'll let me in to get fries. Like, what are we doing?
It's crazy.
I don't have a reservation. This is a dive bar.
And especially when I'm doing shows at the Cellar, I'm like looking for like kind of like a place to pop into in the way that you're explaining it now. Like, give me a bar seat, give me a fry, let me just have a drink, let me just chill. Yeah. So I have been going, and this is like a throwback place. Jack's wife, Freida. Love it.
On Carmine.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have a couple locations, right?
Yeah. But I assume you're going to the one over there.
The one on Carmine is it's busy enough that you won't feel like you're at a dead restaurant.
Yes.
But you can walk in there. And I've walked
Yes.
in there a few times, like, over the past month, and I'm just a fan of what they do. I'm like, I really think...
I'm fine. I'm annoyed that TikTok blew it up, but it feels like they blew up the Soho location for spotting celebrities, not just like the concept of the food.
Oh, I didn't know that was a blown up place. I think the Carmine one is kind of quiet.
It is. And that's why I'm like, oh, no one cares about this restaurant. They care that like Paul Mescal once walked by on Lafayette. And so everybody goes and sits outside trying to watch Paul Mescal's legs walk by or something. Like, it's just like not like you could tell it wasn't like people that like that kind of food. Because like I've never seen someone post about the food, but I always see a post about like how hoppin' the Soho location is.
See, that's so interesting.
I used to go all the time when I was doing my show because I was at Cherry Lane.
It's so great. They have breakfast food at night, which is an added bonus for me. They had this eggplant sandwich. I really went heavy on eggplant.
The ceviche. Yeah.
It was so they have I don't know why I got double eggplant. So I am going to suggest the eggplant sandwich was good. I put some bacon on it. They have bacon you can get on the side. It was great. The eggplant appetizer, I think, is a perfect appetizer. It's a salt and pepper eggplant. Eggplant is not really easy to make, and they are doing it
very slimy.
So well. Yeah, this is like actually crunchy.
Wow.
And it's like in a bowl, and it's a lot of it. Like it's not just like a little like you know. It's not like you're getting some small like order. Like this is a substantial enough shared thing to do with another person, which is important to me. Yeah, I just like how they're doing things.
This is a good tip on the eggplant. I would have never picked it.
The salt and pepper eggplant is one of my favorite appetizers that I've had in recent memory. Wow. I gotta say, it's very good.
Endorsement.
I'm telling you, it comes with a good sauce. I'm just like
they have a good green sauce that's spicy.
Yes, and I know exactly.
Because I get I would get the couscous bowl that has the skewers of the peri-peri chicken.
Right.
And then it comes with like Israeli salad and couscous and the spicy sauce. And then I would add feta because I'm getting feta.
You gotta get it.
And then kind of like mix it all up into a big bowl. A dream.
A great meal. And it's just like sometimes you go to dinners and you're like, did I eat? This will never do you wrong. I think I agree. And I didn't realize they had this like, see and be seen thing going on. But like the one in Carmine, especially because I kept thinking of like, if there's a group out there that's like wandering the West Village, like what are we going to do? We can't get into a restaurant. Like we want a place that's cool and fun and in this area. That's where I would go.
Yes. And they have like good cocktails and you could also be like kind of healthy there if you want to be. Like, and it's not light. You're not like, I guess I'll get the chicken breast as a side, or like whatever. Like, you can really get like a satisfying like square meal or whatever, like something like that. It's not heavy, or you could get like a fried chicken sandwich and French fries and 9 cocktails, and that's also fine. Like
that's why I'm going between shows. Like to have what you're saying is like what I'm looking for. Like I just want like a meal that doesn't make me feel like I ruined my whole week here.
Right. Right. And then to get back on stage full. Oh, God.
Brutal.
Nothing's worse.
I have another question for you. We're going to do one more sponsor. New NBA season means new ways to get into the action at DraftKings Sportsbook. Okay, so let me just tell you. I am a DraftKings user. I am betting on many football games. The other night, I was watching the Yankees-Cleveland game. Mm-hmm. Yankees were up 2 in the top of the 9th. So the Guardians were going to get one more shot at bat. I go on DraftKings and I see that I can bet on the Guardians at plus 2,000, which is like, basically I put $20 down to win $420. So it's a long shot.
Right.
But I'm going to have a fun inning of watching. Like I literally just like
you're invested.
Right. Literally. I just took an inning and I lit it with kerosene. Like I just made it a fun moment. And then the Guardians won. They came back and I won 420. So it's like,
not bad.
Here's the thing. If you're out there, you're going to get some free money with this deal and you can take any inning and make it amazing.
Yeah.
So first time
is like one drink.
Right. And I was like, $20. I got money in my kitty on DraftKings. And I'm like, let's do it. First time new DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Every point counts with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code JTrain. That's code JTrain for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. So the deal is you put in $5 and then they're going to give you these 200 credits, and those can you use those to bet, and they can turn into real money, and then it's yours. That's great.
Yeah.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball. Okay, we're done with ads. They're all there.
You did it.
I did it. We did it. In the description, use the codes. I want to know a joke you're working on.
Oh, okay. There's this one that I am having some trouble just kind of I'm 50% of the time people are really on board, and then once I did it and people were like, "Oh," and I was like, this is not the saddest thing I've ever said, so I don't know why. It's not about me. It's not about any that's why I'm like, what are we sad about? Those texts, the scam texts now that are like, "Betty, it's Joanne. I'm at the gym. Where are you?" Have you seen those
No.
weird? Okay, so there's
Betty.
No, it's so that you end up being like, "Hey, this is a wrong number." It comes from a number.
Okay.
And then it's a text that's clearly not where it's "Oh, this is somebody trying to reach someone," and so you reply, and they hope that they get you talking, and then they scam you out of money somehow.
Really?
Yeah, and so there's other ones that are you get scams that it's you have a package, you have a there's just,
I've seen those.
Very mundane stuff, and I'm like, man, I miss when spam and scam stuff was just hot young sluts want to show hole, at least at least
so much more innocent when it was so direct.
Simpler time when it was just want a bigger schlong, click in, and it's at least that, to me, if people lost all of their money, I'm like, I get it. There's something
right.
We used to be horny. I think now we're just lonely. Everybody's to get scammed out of everything you have by being sorry, wrong number. While we're here, I guess I'll talk to this person.
Daddy.
That.
Right.
To me, I'm oh, I just admit, I want the scams to go back to being hilariously horny and sexy, because at least that was appealing to something where it's can't fight the dog, there was something there that I don't know, it just was a simpler time, and now everything is such a bummer that you could lose your house because you were Joanne, sorry, this isn't Betty, it's Veronica. Whatever is that? There's just something spam got so boring.
Yeah,
and I want it to go back to being slutty.
Right. Where's my slutty spam? I like that.
Yeah, remember the lava line, the phone, even those phone scams where it was not even a scam, you were just talking to a person, but you were spending hundreds of dollars having some woman in another country be yes, I'm also here, or whatever. Like
a phone sex line.
Yes. I just that stuff is gone. It's all so neutered and boring. And I'm if we're gonna be financially destroying ourselves or getting taken advantage of by evil hackers, can't it at least be kind of fun? Right.
It is interesting. It's these scammers used to be as dumb as the people who got scammed. We'll just send them some penis shit.
Yes.
And then now it is sad, this the premise of we've got these tech nerds getting into everything has really ruined everything. That's, to me, that's a tech nerd being no, tell him it's Betty. Instead of it's it just feels more icky when it's I'd rather my scamming be done by big buffoons.
Right. And instead of it being like a phone number with like my area code, like
right.
Where it's like this could be someone, even though like area codes are completely irrelevant now. But like,
but
even if it's,
but that's what they're trying to get to you. There's like an age group they're going for too.
They're like, oh, hey, we have the same area code, so like I clearly am a real person versus an email that's like from like a weird bolded italics font where you're like, this isn't a person. This has never been a person. Like, and I don't like. It's so strange.
It's also just annoying. It's like, can we just stop this? What are you gonna? Is there really a millionaire out there from all the scamming they're doing? Like, is anyone winning in this? Like, I don't know. You know, I don't know. You ever see the movie The Beekeeper?
No, but
with Jason
saw
Statham.
the ads. Yeah.
The whole premise is like that they're taking money from people from these scamming places, and they show the scamming place where they do it from. Yeah. It is so ridiculous. The premise of it's so ridiculous because they're like cheering and they're like, "We got another one," and you're like, I don't think that's how it's happening. I don't think there's this like corporation that's like having fun doing the scamming. It just feels like it's probably like a subsidiary of BlackRock or something. Like it's just not like, I mean, I guess like that's like, it's like to take the bit to like a big like global zoomed out view. It's like we don't need to scam people out of money. Like that's happening at the grocery store or like whatever. Like I don't know. Like, it's happening every day. You're scammed every day, loser. Yeah, I like that.
Scams, that's the real for me. Like that's what and then I was trying to figure out like what would the text be that gets me to end up like getting rid of all of, and it's like Alison, it's Tom Hardy. There's a Rachel Comey sample sale inside a natural wine store. Like I don't know, just something like stupid.
I like that. I like what would get you.
Yeah. So I'm trying to like land on something that makes sense to the audience without like personally having to know me too well.
Right.
It has to like be like legible enough if it's like the second joke in a set.
Yeah, no, it's I like the premise. I like this one.
Yeah. What about you? You got something you're cooking with?
I tried this last night and it's so stupid. I don't like the idea that like, well, I'm talking about Europe a little bit because like I'm talking about a trip I took and getting
you're
turned
our ambassador.
I am the ambassador to Europe. That's right. I was saying how it's crazy that like for anyone to like brag about hooking up with a European, it's like hooking up with a European for a woman is always going to be better than hooking up with an American for a woman, because like you said, when you say that like you have to be in a mental place to come, as most women say, isn't if you've seen the Eiffel Tower that day, aren't you closer to coming than you would have if you had not seen the Eiffel Tower that day?
Right. If you drove by a Denny's, like...
Right, you're backwards. We've gone backwards.
Yeah, you're undoing. You have to overcome being in America.
So maybe American men are the greatest at sex in the planet.
Oh, that's fun.
Because we are getting you off with such horrific surroundings.
Right.
You know, whereas in Paris, if you look out the window and you see the Eiffel Tower, like
you're halfway there.
Right, you're there. What are we talking?
Yeah, you're wet. You're in.
Yeah, those guys aren't good at sex.
Right. Instead of driving by like 9 strip malls and then being like, well, come upstairs.
I was like, you look out my window and there's a KFC / Taco Bell. Like that is not.
That's funny.
Like that's not. That. You know what I mean? I don't know. I was thinking about like. I'm trying to think if I've ever heard someone say this just like that, like. But I guess I haven't. I've only heard women talk about like how much they love being in Europe.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get away from like talking about something I think I've heard. Like, and I don't like jokes that start with that. Like
no.
Like, you know what I mean? Like where it's like, women are always saying, it's like, well, I've never met that person. Yeah. Right. But I'm trying to think of like.
But you know women who are like, oh my God, going to France was like the best thing ever. I had a great
Absolutely.
time.
That's that I know.
Yeah. So like you can operate from like the baseline of that. As
right.
opposed to like, I love European men. Also, like as an American woman, I never want to talk to a European man. Like,
never.
I'm so uninterested in an accent, in like a slim cut blazer. Like it just like doesn't work for me.
Slim cut blazer.
Like I don't want to see you in a scarf. Like I don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not for me. I don't want to have to explain to you what TRL is when I'm trying to make a joke. Like I just need
right.
Like, the language barriers obviously.
I would be so embarrassed to see like a European man's like closet with like 3 items. Like I have like 7,000 t-shirts and hats. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like that's the one thing I respect about them is that they have like 7 t-shirts.
This is the look.
And this is it. And I just rotate them for all events. And I'm like, no, that's a t-shirt I wear when I've lost 20 pounds, and that's when I've gained 20 pounds.
Yeah, well, I have like 3 different bodies worth of clothing in my closet at any point.
Yes. Alison Libby, thank you for coming on. A fantastic chit chat. What a way to wake up today is to see you and chit chat. This makes me feel better. I was so hungover, and this really was the cure I needed.
Yeah, we'll shut our computers, and you'll go right to lying in the dark.
Thanks for
painting. Listen to Talktown.
Listen to Talktown.
If you've listened to this podcast ever and have liked Greg and Anthony or me being on, it's all of us together, and it doesn't make any sense, but it's the best time. I get a headache from laughing when I do it. So
I went and taped 2 episodes. We had so much fun. Laughed my ass off. So go, go, go. I'm Jared Freid. We'll be back next week. Boom.